Shadow Environment Minister Jonathan Duniam joins us and former Howard Government Minister Gary Hargreaves. Well, Gary, the PM, I find this extraordinary. So keen is he at the ASEAN Summit next week in Melbourne that he wants to show off his EV fleet. These are very expensive BMWs, $700,000 plus. So they're going to drive the cars, presumably from the depot in Canberra to Adelaide, to Melbourne. They're going to drive all these people around. I know exactly what it costs per hour for these Comcar drivers. This is extraordinary, all for a bit of PR.
Yeah, and isn't that really typical of this bloke? And of course, the TA that goes with the PR. Look, Peter, I think this is what's going to happen. These cars are driving, of course, to the most unreliable power supply in Australia, which is the state of Victoria, where, you know, you can't charge them overnight for certainty because the power could go out. I mean, that's just Victoria's power system. It's hopeless.
Spot on.
So what they're doing, and it's a bit like a secret operation. You know how those long-range jets fly with the refuelers along the way? We're going to see diesel utilities, because we can't afford to buy the EV ute. It's twice the price of a diesel one. But diesel utilities loaded up with diesel fuel and generators that are going to be there to plug these cars in on the road as they come down from Adelaide and Canberra, and indeed probably around the city of Melbourne. So they'll be secretly using, as is always the case, a fossil fuel to run their EVs. I mean, every EV on the road in Queensland, the greatest coal-producing nation state in the world, is powered by coal. And so this is what's going to happen. They're all going to be powered by diesel generators plugged into the cars, possibly while they're driving along. It's a refuelling operation, Peter. You know it.
We might all laugh, but Gary and Jono know that there'll be someone down in an apartment with a little piece of paper, a little brief to a minister outlining some sort of fallback scenario just like that.
Got an idea.
And Jono, we've got the Motor Traders, the Motor Traders Association. They have been arguing, as you know, where is the modelling behind these emissions targets? But they've also come out today to say, now that they've done some analysis, they are the toughest in the world. And I know down in Dunkley, because I particularly went up to speak to people driving big, US-style utes. What do you think about the government's plan to take this vehicle off you? Are you going to buy it again if it's going to cost you $15,000 more? I tell you, if they could have lynched the Prime Minister, they would, right then and there.
Yeah, it's a further demonstration of just how out of touch a government can be. I mean, they get this advice from somewhere deep in the bowels of some building here in Canberra, telling them that this is a good idea to meet all sorts of international obligations. But it is, as you say, the toughest in the world. And I've had a series of motor traders through my office, both here in Canberra and down in Hobart. And it isn't going to generate better environmental outcomes. I mean, Gary's just listed out the folly of this pursuit of EVs. Now, I'm not anti-EV. If you want to buy one and if it suits your lifestyle, go for gold. But this regime they're putting in place to foist this upon people isn't going to make people drive EVs. Certainly not the people who opt for the big American-style trucks and cars like that. They have those vehicles for a reason. Often tradies, farmers, people who drive long distances, have great amounts of stuff to lug about. No EV is ever going to be able to do it. These people are just going to hang on to their vehicles longer. And if indeed they do end up having to pay these greater prices for combustion engine vehicles, that cost is going to be passed on to the people they work for, if they're farmers or builders. It's just madness all round, but it's what we're used to now here in Canberra.
Yeah.
I might add, before the Guardian or the lefties fire up, I was saying figuratively, lynch the Prime Minister. No one suggesting the Prime Minister would be strung up over his cars. But anyway, Gary, what about this recommendation out of the Afghanistan inquiry that our ADF dog handlers, these are people who have dogs that use them for protection of soldiers, let's say, or bomb dogs. You know, there's been some suicide bombers that have been held back because of these dogs. They've saved lives. They've got to now undergo cultural sensitivity training. You're kidding me.
Yeah. Well, look, why not? They should. You know, Peter, the Defence Department's now reached this amazing point where we've got the biggest island nation in the world, the only nation that inhabits one entire continent. All around us is ocean. We've got no real navy now. Our navy assets are in serious decline. We probably should be having at least 3 or 4 aircraft carriers and all the vessels that go with it, but no plans about that. And now we've got to send a memo to our enemy if we want to shoot them, if we want to attack them, and if we want to sniff at them because we think maybe they've got a bomb. I mean, this Defence Department has been completely beggared up by the whole Russell officers' approach to this thing. You know, it's an army and a navy and an air force is a great place if only you don't fight wars. And so we've got people who are more worried about the ICE Vovo allowance than, in fact, finding the bullets for the guns or the guns for the bullets, and indeed the munitions that we need. Peter Dutton tried to fix it up. He tried to fix it up. Peter Dutton, as Defence Minister, tried to fix it up. And this mob are just drifting aimlessly, without power, without direction, waiting for the winds. I am really fearful of where Australia is at. We're being attacked from within by the way in which our key institutions are being broken by the woke. And we're being, I think, potentially attacked from beyond because we basically just ring us up, make an appointment, invade. That's where we're at right now. And be very sensitive to our culture, you know, when you do, please, to our enemies out there watching.
Donna, let's go to the housing crisis because we talk about this a lot. We know it is predominantly supply. So what I don't understand is that the dance the left is doing, and Labor is doing it, the Greens are doing it at least overtly, Labor's doing it covertly, about getting rid of negative gearing. And we find because of all of the taxes now, particularly state government taxes, hitting landlords, there's been a 30% jump in landlords selling off their properties. They're saying, I just can't make it work anymore, we're walking away. Now, this is a reduction in the available pool, and we've got record migration. And Labor's Help to Buy scheme, of which then the Labor Party owns 40% of your home, God forbid, that's being held up in the Parliament.
Yeah, there's no clear pathway to delivering on any of the promises they've made when it comes to housing availability or affordability. And we've said it on this program before, supply, addressing the supply issues is where the answer is at. The Help to Buy scheme sounds great, but it is a ridiculous proposition on every level. Government owning part of your home, and it's means tested, and if you earn $1 more than you're supposed to be within the bracket, then you're going to have to go and refinance. There's all sorts of trouble associated with that. But yes, people are spooked about investment properties. This talk of negative gearing and capital gains reforms that Labor will do, just they promised they won't, or it's not on their agenda, they will go there, means people are selling their homes. So that has major ramifications for renters, people who can't yet afford to buy a home. But there is no real or proper solution coming from this government, and they talk a big game. You add in what you just mentioned, the number of people that will be coming to this country and making it home. We are in big, big trouble, including in regional centres where the same problems are being faced. And I don't think this government takes the issue seriously. It's all about a headline, and seriously, we're the ones who are going to be paying the price.